Okay, myself Dr. M. Logambal, Assistant Professor, Department of CSDA. My topic is Software Testing Fundamentals. So the Software Testing Fundamentals covers the following topics: Introduction, Characteristics, Importance, and Types of Testing. Introduction. The goal of testing is to find errors, and a good testing means to find the high probability of finding an errors. So the main objectives of the testing is to find the errors. So testing is a set of activities that can be planned in advance and conducted systematically. Before enter into the testing, you have to create a series of test cases. So you have to execute a series of test cases on the particular criteria. So characteristics of software testing: functionality, reliability, usability, efficiency, maintainability, portability. So a good software testing means contains the following characteristics. So a good test has a high probability of finding errors. A good test is not redundant. So the redundant means duplications. The test not be repeated. A good test should be best of breed. A good test should be neither too simple nor too complex. Importance of software testing. Why to learn software testings? So the following are the importance of software testing. So in the industry, large companies have a team with responsibilities to evaluate the developed software in context of the given requirements. Moreover, developers also conduct testing, which is called unit testings. In most cases, the following professionals are involved in testing a system within their respective capacities: software tester, software developer, project leader or manager, end user. Different companies have different designations for people who test the software on the basis of their experience and knowledge, such as software tester, software quality assurance engineer, quality analyst, etc. So there are different types of testings. So first one is the white box testing, basis path testing, control structure testing, black box testing. So what is mean by white box testing? So I will explain the definition of white box testing. White box testing is a testing technique that examines the program structure and derives test data from the program logic or code. So which is an internal structure testing, which is an opposite of black box testings. So the other names of white box testing is glass box testing, clear box testing, open box testing, logic driven testing, path driven testing, structural testing. White box testing techniques. Statement coverage. There are three types of white box testing techniques. First one is a statement coverage. Next one, branch coverage, then path coverage. The statement coverage technique is to examine all the statements in the program with minimal test. Branch coverage in the sense to ensure all the branches are tested at least once. So this is a branch coverage test. Path coverage. So this testing corresponds to all possible paths, which means that each statement and branch is covered. So these are the three types of white box testing techniques. So advantages of white box testing: forces the developer to reason carefully about implementation, reveals errors in hidden code, spots the dead code or other issues with respect to best programming practices. Disadvantages of white box testing. So there are some disadvantages of white box testing. That is expensive, as one has to spend both time and money to perform white box testing. Every possibility that a few lines of code are missed accidentally. So in-depth knowledge about the programming language is necessary to perform white box testing. So these are all the disadvantages of white box testing. Next, basis path testing. The path testing is a structural testing method based on the source code or algorithm and not based on the specifications. It can be applied at different levels of granularity. Path testing assumptions. The specifications are accurate, the data is defined and accessed properly. There are no defects that exist in the system other than those that affect control flow. Basis path testing. It is a white box testing technique to test logical complexity measures of a procedural design, to test execution parts. Path testing techniques. Control flow graph. The program is converted into flow graphs by representing the code into nodes, regions, and edges. Next, decision to decision paths. The CFG can be broken into various decision to decision paths and then collapsed into individual nodes. Independent paths. Independent path is a path through a DD path through graph which cannot be reproduced from other paths by other methods. Flow graph notation. Cyclomatic complexity is a source code complexity measurement that is being correlated to a number of coding errors. It is calculated by developing a control flow graph of the code that measures the number of linearly independent paths through a program module. So lower the program's cyclomatic complexity, lower the risk to modify and easier to understand. So always the cyclomatic complexity should be lower one. It can be represented using the below formula. So the cyclomatic complexity can be measured by using the formula that is E minus N plus 2 star P, where E means number of edges in the flow graph, N means number of nodes in the flow graph, P means number of nodes that have exit points. Control structures testing. It contains the following criteria, that is a condition testing, data flow testing, loop testing. So in the condition testing, to test case design method, exercise the logical conditions contained in a program module. So the following types of errors are encountered during the condition testings, that is a Boolean operator error, Boolean variable errors, Boolean parenthesis errors, relational operator errors, arithmetic expression errors. These are all the types of errors identified during the condition testing. Next one is the data flow testing. So data flow testing selects the test path of a program according to the locations of definitions and use of variables in the program. Next, loop testing. Loop testing are cornerstone for the vast variety of all algorithms implemented in softwares. Loop testing is a white box testing technique that focuses exclusively on the validity of loop constructs. So there are 4 types of loops: simple loops, nested loops, concatenated loops, unstructured loops. Next, black box testing. The black box testing is a method of software testing that examines the functionality of application based on the specifications. It is also known as specifications based testing. Independent testing team usually performs these types of testing during the software testing lifecycle. This method of test can be applied to each and every level of software testing, such as unit, integration, system, and acceptance testing. These black box testing are designed to answer the following questions. That means, how is functional validity tested? How are system behavior and performance tested? What classes of input will make good test cases? How are the boundaries of data class isolated? So these are all the questions arised when we have to perform the black box testings. There are different techniques involved in black box testing. The first technique is equivalence class testing. It is used to minimize the number of possible test cases to an optimum level while maintains reasonable test coverage. Next technique is a boundary value testing. Boundary value testing is focused on the values at boundaries. This technique determines whether a certain range of values are acceptable by the system or not. So it is very useful in reducing the number of test cases. It is most suitable for the systems where an input is within certain ranges. Table testing. A decision table puts causes and their effects in a matrix. So there is a unique combination in each column. Decision table testing. A decision table puts causes and their effects in matrix. There is a unique combination in each column. The main focus of black box testing is on the validation of your functional requirements. Thank you all.